Fuck your ROAS, right? This is something that we no longer track as a unit of success for the e-commerce brands we work with. We've moved on to 2 new and better KPIs that allow us to have a much better holistic view and approach to our marketing, understanding how profitable we actually are through cost per acquisition. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to dive in how we're tracking these KPIs for an 8-figure brand, fully pulling back the numbers. Okay guys, so let's get started here beyond the ROAS, right? This is something that we're not necessarily not tracking anymore, but obviously this is not, like I said, our main metric of success for a multitude of reasons. So what we're going to be covering in today's video, right? First of all, the 2 KPIs are NCPA, right? So new customer cost per acquisition, and then MER, marketing efficiency ratio, but presented as a percentage for better growth, right? So we're going to be covering what's return on ad spend, the issue with return on ad spend, shifting our focus from ROAS to NCPA and MER, understanding those 2 metrics, practical implications, why this is so important in 2023. And then, like I said, I'm going to give you guys that little sneak peek towards the end of the video of that 8-figure brand. So as e-commerce continues to evolve, right, so do the metrics that we're using to measure success. This is really, really important. We used to measure success by determining ROAS strictly on our advertising accounts, right? But because of things like iOS 14 and just a multitude of other things, right? iOS 17 just came out, it's getting rid of UTM tracking to an extent, right? Ultimately, there is an inability to track as accurately as Facebook once could. So the ability now is that, or the issue is more so that ROAS is not necessarily a metric that is efficient to track. So this shift to MER and NCPA is driven by the need for us as a marketing team to have a comprehensive growth strategy that takes into account not just our ad spend, but also customer acquisition as a whole and how effective our marketing is in terms of efficiency. While the thing with return on ad spend, right, is it solely focuses on the ad spend and the revenue generated from those direct ads, whereas NCPA and MER take more of a holistic approach because we understand, especially at a 7 and 8-figure level, you can't just be looking at the one platform metrics because there's so many other things that are happening. So NCPA measures the cost of acquiring new customers, while MER looks at the overall efficiency of our entire marketing funnel. And by focusing on these metrics, right, e-commerce brands can have a much better understanding on their customer acquisition costs and ultimately optimize for more efficient spending. Moving on, let's just quickly dive into this. What is return on ad spend? So ROAS, right, like I just said, stands for return on ad spend. Very, very simple, right? Let's say you spend $100 on Facebook and end up generating $500 in revenue, right? You spent $100 and generated $500. Return on ad spend is typically used on pretty much all marketing platforms to determine how profitable certain campaigns or certain ads are. However, like we're going to discuss in a moment, ROAS has its limitations as it's only measuring the direct revenue from the direct amount of ad spend that you spent. And again, it's not necessarily even reporting that accurately, right? The issue with return on ad spend, like we kind of just said, is that it can ultimately lead to a skewed understanding of how profitable your ads actually are. Especially when you start to have multi-touch points within your advertising, you're definitely going to start to experience over attribution and inflated return on ad spend, right? This is where these KPIs become crucial in terms of actually understanding your performance. Because while return on ad spend might work sometimes, it doesn't even consider the lifetime value of a customer, and ultimately you're focusing on a very short-term gain as opposed to building long-term sustainability for your brand. So what we want to start doing is shifting our focus from return on ad spend to NCPA and MER. So as I mentioned, NCPA stands for new customer cost per acquisition, meaning we're actually looking at the individual cost of acquiring a new customer. Emphasis on the word new. Because let's say you have a decent returning customer rate, it's very easy, like I said, to have that inflated return on ad spend number when you start to have a bit of over attribution from people that would have already purchased anyway. And now you're getting into the issue where you might be spending too much on ads. And then MER, right? Marketing efficiency ratio. MER is taking a look at the actual profitability as your funnel as a whole. This is where you're taking gross profits and dividing it by the total amount of marketing spend. This includes advertising costs, but as well as COGS to give you a much more accurate representation as to how profitable your marketing is. Like I said, while return on ad spend is still a very helpful metric to understand, tracking NCPA and MER allows you to have a much broader perspective on your marketing and the overall efficiency of it, making these, as of right now, more reliable KPIs for us to track in terms of success. Now, the shift in terms of transitioning and tracking these numbers is extremely important for e-commerce brands. With return on ad spend, the focus is generating direct revenue from those ad dollars in a very short period of time. However, with NCPA and MER, the focus in your business shifts ultimately to acquiring new customers efficiently and, most importantly, profitably. Allowing you to understand these KPIs will allow you to have a much clearer vision as to what lever you need to pull next to help your brand scale. And so as I said, guys, if you stuck around to the end of this video, I'm actually gonna pull back the curtain on an 8-figure brand and show you the difference between tracking return on ad spend, looking at NCPA and MER. Okay guys, so right now we are in Triple Whale, and I'm actually gonna show you the difference between tracking just return on ad spend per platform, NCPA, and then MER, right? So oftentimes, this is a brand where we're spending tens of thousands of dollars a week. This is just a 7-day period in June. On Facebook, we're spending tens of thousands of dollars. On Google as well, yeah, $33,000. And the difference here is that we're not looking to set a goal return on ad spend here, right? So our return on ad spend on Google is 3.9. Our return on ad spend on Facebook is 2.7. You're probably wondering, wow, the return on ad spend is so much higher on Google. Why are we not spending more money there? Because we understand that there's a lot more behind the scenes in terms of tracking these numbers. We've tried this before, and ultimately what's happened here is that our NCPA, the cost of us acquiring new customers, shot up extremely high because Facebook was the major driver of driving the first touch point with these potential customers, ultimately allowing us to make a better decision in terms of not worrying about the return on ad spend, because this may not be accurate, especially with how many people have opted out of tracking on Facebook. We're more so worried about setting a maximum MER with the brand, meaning on a month-to-month basis, how much are we willing to spend on marketing in comparison to revenue and profit. And with this brand in particular, we're safe spending anywhere between 20 to 30% of monthly revenue on marketing as we're really looking to help them grow, as well as doing the exact same thing and setting a maximum NCPA to understand how low to the ground we can run in terms of scaling this business. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and a comment below on what you would like to see next. As always, if you're interested in becoming a part of our team or working with us as a client, links to everything in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next one.